into the microphones.
Y'all ready? Everybody good? All right, we'll start this meeting on the Budget and Finance Meeting Agenda, January 23rd, 2025. We'll take a roll. Everybody's present except
Dow,
Tina,
Dow Jones.
Reed, and Dow
Yeah.
Jones. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right, approval of the agenda. Do I have a
I
motion?
need to make a motion to add to the agenda from capital outlay for, the, approval for the, air conditioning system, heat and air for the county jail.
Second.
Second, you gonna put that under, I don't know, what, 6C,
Would probably make sense to put it with the other one down there at capital outlay, number 10.
number 10?
Yeah.
All right, we'll just do 10. Okay,
I make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
any second?
Second.
You have a second? Good, Lynn?
Yep, yeah.
Okay, all in favor of saying aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Next, we have public comments. We have Sarah Bradley that wants to make a comment. If you want to, you got that one on over there? If you just
Yes.
want to step over there where we can, where everybody can hear you.
Hello. Thank you for your service and being here. I know you're heading into a budget season that'll be busy, and I appreciate that work. I just wanted to speak really briefly in favor of the road grant, and I also want to thank Mayor Hunt for asking, about whether it was a good use of tax money. That's my favorite question to ever hear. I love that question. But as a rural resident, it seems to me, I've talked to some folks that work either on roads or designing roads, and it just seems like a good opportunity to get a good understanding of where our roads are at, where our signs are at, and how we might be able to kind of maximize our budget and get the biggest bang for our buck. So that's real easy for me to say because I don't have to figure out where the money comes from. I know that's the whole other part of the question, but I guess my comment is that if the funds are available and they can be found, I think it would be a good investment just for years to come and able to help us make data-driven decisions about with our highway budget. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bradley. All right, I guess that concludes our public comments. We'll move on down to the,
Mr. Chair, may I speak briefly in public comment so I don't
Yes, you
have
may,
to jump in
Mr.
on
Mayor.
everything? This is just a little bit of pep talk for you guys. I don't know if there's anybody opposed to what's happening in Washington DC. I don't think they're in this room. We have an administration, a present administration that's trying to make the best use of our federal tax dollars, and I think everybody here applauds it. I want everybody around this table to keep that in mind. It seems as though we can spend like drunken sailors at some points, and the low rate of property taxes that Coffee County residents enjoy compared to some needs to be maintained. And we can't just keep spend because somebody wants. Spending should be based on needs. And I hope you guys keep that in mind on all. I'll be honest with you, I don't plan on increasing the mayor's budget one penny. So just to give every department a heads up, try to work on your budget pretty please. Thank you. That's all I got to say.
okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. All right, we'll move on to number 5, approval of minutes of the previous meeting. Do I entertain a motion for that? Has everybody looked at
I
that?
wasn't either.
I've already, I'll make that motion. I read them.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I wasn't present.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, neither was I.
All right, I got a motion and a second. Any discussion before we vote? All right, no discussion. All in favor of saying aye? All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Budget amendments.
Budget present, no, we got that Coffee County Road grant.
Oh, I must have an old agenda.
Yeah, that was here.
Lord. Yeah, I passed everybody out one but me. All right. Excuse me, number 6, Coffee County Road grants, from the Coffee County Road Department. That's in your,
I don't,
I got a question. Mariana, is he asking for a budget amendment to move from his fund balance?
I don't have anything.
Is anybody here from Coffee County Highway Department? The book, I'll verify this, is, do you have your budget book with you? It appeared to me as he has a $1 million budget, fund balance. Is that correct?
It's on my desk. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
I don't have anything from the highway department, and that's why I asked Connie what she had for the meeting tonight. I knew what I was bringing, but I have not seen that.
I don't have it.
Tim, we
So what kind of
had
grant?
talked about this the last meeting,
yes,
and it was a grant for, the county, rural road department, or for Benton's, department, to have a CERT. It'll actually give him the information he needs to know exactly when things have been done, and it'll give him also the ability to see what things in spot places need to be fixed versus paving a whole road.
some trouble spots.
Trouble spots.
Trouble spots,
And-
okay.
And it gives him that information. We did not do anything with it for the last, meeting, and he wanted to bring it back out again to see if we can't get this forward. And I told him I agree with him. I think it's
Can you answer
good tool.
questions for him then?
for Benton.
The specifics.
Well,
This is a grant that is how long? What is the term of the grant?
I do not know the.
And do we have to put in
Is it
50,000 a
matching or
year?
Is it, oh, go ahead, excuse me.
There was a question. Is it 50,000 a year for how many years?
I did not get all that information.
They're having a
from them.
meeting
I-
March
I-
7th on this.
I think
It's
we're
like
gonna
it's
do anything. I think
prematurely
we'll
on
postpone it till
the
next
agenda.
meeting.
So it's,
Benton's having,
Okay, Commissioner Chambers just informed me that they're having a meeting on.
March
pertain-
7th.
Pertaining to this, March the 7th.
If I'm not mistaken, March
So-
7th, about this very topic, so I think it's prematurely maybe on our agenda, because they're discussing everything you've asked
I
in this
agree.
meeting.
So if we just need to probably
I think
table
we need
it.
to table it and postpone it to the next meeting.
Yes, I think that would be the right thing to do.
I do.
Okay, so motion to
I'll make a
table,
motion to do that.
I'll second it.
second it, okay. Motion to table it to the next meeting. All in favor of saying aye? All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Number 7, budget presentations. We have 3 representatives here tonight from different services. We'll start off with probation services, Linda Baker. Now, this is just their presentation. We won't be taking no action tonight. Thank you.
There's a book.
Where's our book at?
I didn't bring it. I ain't saying it.
It's stuck in here. Yeah, see,
I didn't bring mine.
So first of all, I want to apologize, because I am gonna ask for some money, and I don't take that lightly. But it's not because I'm just willy-nilly spending money. It's to be competitive in salaries as well as supplies that are happening, and the price of that's going up, and I can't control that. So I do apologize for that. Second of all, I just want to make a disclaimer. It's very hard for me as a director to advocate for my own raise. But I have learned if I don't, then that might not go so well for me. So I just want you to realize that I'm not up here just trying to spend lots of money. In the salaries and wages for the director, currently I make $55,306. I propose that I would go up to $57,000. Probation officers, we have 6 probation officers, and they currently, with that budget, is in there $252,903. I propose that that goes up to $274. That would put one probation officer coming in at $48,000. And that is my longest probation officer that has been with us 5 years, and he's actually present in the room. And if I'm not in the office, I don't have to worry about his, or I don't have to worry about that office running, because he's there to back me up, and he's my longest one. He's been here 5 years. I have another probation officer. It's probation officer number 2. Currently, that probation officer makes $42,100. I have proposed that that probation officer goes up to $46,000. And again, this is one of my second hardest working officers. Right now, our administrative assistant is out on medical leave, and that probation officer is doing not only her job, but that administrative assistant's job as well. These 2 probation officers, I don't have to ask them, will they do it? They see there's a need, and they just take it upon themselves to do that. The other 4 probation officers are currently at a salary of $42,100. I propose that they go up to $45,000. And this is a $2,900 increase for each of them, which would equal to $11,600 just for those 4. Our administrative assistant, who is out on medical leave but will be back, that current salary is $35,000, and I propose that that go to $38,000, and that's a $3,000 increase. The last 2 administrative positions that I've had to hire, I have not been able to be competitive with getting someone in that position, just simply because the salary is so low. So, as I've asked for these on salaries, I would like for you to keep in mind, we are a division of public safety. We do not arrest people, we do not carry guns, but we are a division of public safety. And with that in mind, every staff member, even my administrative assistant at this time, has a 4-year college degree. And that is a requirement that we have. It doesn't make us smarter or better. It just gives us some skills in certain areas that may not be present in other areas, psychology classes, things like that. And I just want to give you a quick scenario of something that happened that I had no idea that happened until after it had happened. That probation officer that I asked, one of those probation officers that I asked for a raise for, there was a situation where this female could not hold her own drug screen for reasons, medical reasons. That probation officer took that female into that bathroom, and she held that drug screen for her to be able to go to the bathroom. I promise you, when I interviewed all of my people, I did not tell them that they would have to be a nurse or that they would have to be a doctor. And she didn't do that but once. She did it twice because she had to have 2 different drug screens on her. So I say, when I tell you that my folks are working really hard and are going above and beyond what the job requires, they are. There's a difference when you hand a drug screen to someone and say, I need a specimen and I'm watching you, but when you have to hold that drug screen because they were not able to hold the drug screen and do that themselves for a medical reason, that's a little different. So I don't take asking for these salaries lightly. Even with this, we are still continuously behind. We have been. I turned in a salary study back in 2021, and we were behind in 2021, and we still haven't completely caught up with other surrounding counties for that. I'm just asking for these amounts in here for the salaries. As far as the supplies and materials, my increase, we've got Ben Lomond, AT&T, Google, and Twilio. I asked for a $550 increase in that. That's something that I can't control. Our maintenance is our case management system contract, a Canon copier contract, and our IT backup that our IT department has recently suggested that all departments do that. So with that, I had to increase my budget $450. The next increase would go down to tuition and training. I have there's 8 of us on a team, and when you break that down, that training comes to about $200 a year for training, so I asked for a $200 increase on that. Other contracted services, we did not use that this year as we had anticipated it was gonna be, so I took that completely out. Office supplies, I asked for a $500 increase. That's something that I can't control. Under uniforms, it's shirts for 8 employees. That's $500. That's the same. And down under $499, other supplies and materials, it was a $450 increase because I had to move some money around already for tuition and training. Are there any questions?
You have any questions? I've got a question. I know last year we give everybody an 8%, 8.5% raise, and we didn't deem it across the board. We just give it, you know, you got the 8.5%, and you can take that and adjust it however you want to adjust it. Did you do that, or did you give it across the board to everybody whenever we give those?
I had one probation officer that got more than the other, but everything else was kind of tallied out from that.
Okay.
What criteria did you use to distribute that with those 2 individuals?
For the one individual, because that was the one, everybody else got distributed out. For the one individual, it's the person that has been here the longest and goes above and beyond, that person he's sitting in the room, he doesn't come and ask me what needs to be done. He sees it and goes and does it.
On where you've asked for a $300 increase on longevity pay, you understand that was done by the Budget and Finance, not by anybody else. That was done by this committee.
Yeah, they figured that.
Did they figure that in?
They figured that up, yes.
Yeah, we have to, that was on my packet sheet.
Okay.
And that's for 2, that would be 2 people.
All right. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, is that all the questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next will be EMA, Alan Lindley.
Let me save you some trouble, Alan. No, go sit back there.
Thank you.
And thank you. Thank you for coming.
I'd like to have something to stand on where you're going to see me behind here.
We got you. You're good.
We're not that special. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
That's what I said, we're not that special.
There you go. It's pretty fancy.
Personalized touch.
So, as you're thumbing through those, I'll bring your attention to that first sheet, which is our call volume sheet from the past 3 years. And, of course, I'm a little colorblind, but I think that's green. Green is the 2024 call volume. So as you can tell, for the most of the months, it has increased a lot.
What's driving that? Just bad luck?
Yeah, most of it, yeah, most of
Wow.
it. You know, it's luck of the draw. I mean, next year they may be down a bunch. Public safety is hard to predict, you know, the trends. I I just wanted to bring your attention to the call volume and how it's increased, and that brings me to the budget packet. I'll just go over, like what we've asked for increases on. And basically, we looked at what the average cost of living for Tennessee is. What would that increase be? And, according to the data we found, it's 10%. So I just put that in there as a placeholder. I know that budget and finance will determine, along with the commission, exactly how much money there are for raises, but I just put that in there as a placeholder. So, I am asking for a increase in my part-time budget, due to the, increased number of calls. My guys right now are making $12 an hour as part-time employees, and they have as many or more certifications than most in public safety in specialized categories such as hazardous materials, which we're responsible for. So I feel that they haven't gotten a raise. They were not part of the 8% that we did last year. So I'm asking that due to the number of calls and their credentialing, that we increase that line item. I think it's from 15.5 to 25, so that's a
15,750.
15,750 to 25. That will allow them some more hours to help offset our call times, and we would appreciate that. So on the 307, the communication,
While you're on that line item 169, who are the two individuals that you're using right now?
Brandon Gunn and Joy Bryant.
Thank you.
And they work full-time for Arnold Air Force Base, and so they do this part-time for us. On the communications, we have the email increase, and then we would like to do some upgrades as well, to our Emergency Operations Center. So we're asking for a little bit of an increase there. We were fortunate enough, to, trade Homeland Security asset we had, command trailer, for basically a diesel-powered command post. For those of y'all who have not seen it, it was Manchester Police Department's command post. We looked at it. It better suits our needs as a mobile operations center. It's a lot larger than the trailer, so we're asking for an increase because of the fuel cost of that. Not that it'll be run that often, but we also were given back a Homeland Security asset from Manchester Fire, which is a 1-ton F-350 and a 26-foot hazardous materials trailer. And I know, sitting in Chairman Stovall knows exactly the truck and trailer I'm talking about. And so does Commissioner Chambers. So that was given back. Homeland Security dollars bought that truck and trailer. There's a twin to it in Tullahoma. So we need to increase our maintenance costs, because obviously adding that vehicle, although it's not driven unless we have an emergency and need it, there's still a maintenance cost involved in that. We have several upcoming classes that need to be completed to maintain our level of service, or what I feel like is an exceptional level of service to our citizens here in this county. My deputy director is currently working on his hazmat specialist certification. There is only one hazardous material specialist in the county currently, and so we feel like that we need to have an additional specialist, and that's gonna cost some money, because That requires going to the National Fire Academy for 4 weeks, and it requires going to Nevada for a week, and New Mexico for explosives for a week, and so there's about 160 more hours of training to be a specialist. Gasoline, we increased a little bit, just because of the increased call volume, and we don't know, today what fuel prices are gonna be 8 months from now. So, not that, we put that in there as a buffer just in case. Hopefully, as Mayor Hunt said earlier, and I totally agree, hopefully fuel prices will start to come down now. So, we'll see. So, on our 499 line item, that's where we purchase all of our hazardous material supplies from. That's an increase of $10,000, right, Wade? The cost of doing that hazmat work, which we're taxed to do by TCA code out of our office, the cost of those supplies keep going up and up. A level A protection suit, which is a fully encapsulated suit that you would wear down to a hazardous chemical spill, those are about $2,000 a piece now. They have a 5-year shelf life. So whether they come out of the bag ever, after 5 years, you have to dispose of them. And that's for obvious reasons and OSHA requirements, because we have to follow OSHA 1910-120 and NFPA 472 and 473 as it relates to hazardous materials. So, so that is, in a nutshell, the budget. Those next pages are, we're looking at purchasing from a capital project or whatever, or from our budget, drones. We've seen the need for drones. We have drones currently. They are not compliant with the current laws in place. There's what they call a blue list for drones. Our drones are DJI drones, and they are not on the blue list. In other words, the federal government has said you cannot use a drone that has any Chinese parts in them. So, which is, in my opinion, not necessarily a bad thing. Well, these drones that we're looking at they're a Skydio brand, and if you've got more questions, Wade is a licensed pilot. They are DOD compliant. They can be flown over the base. They can be flown anywhere in the county. Those first few pages are letters of recommendation and support of the drone program. We utilize these drones for multiple purposes. We used them with the district attorney's office before. We used them with local law enforcement. We use them for hazardous material spills. We just had one on the interstate the other day at the 103.5. He was hauling 20,000 pounds of compressed nitrogen. We could put a drone up in the air. We could put a drone up in the air and send one down range and get a visual of what's going on. That keeps our people out of harm's way and keeps them from, getting hurt and causing that liability. So we ask that you consider that as either an amendment to our budget or a capital project.
I want to ask you something.
Yes, sir.
I've done some research on the drones lately because a lot of the cities and other states have
Yes, sir.
gone. A lot of the cities and other states have gone to the drones because it seems a thing of the times that we have to have, and I know
Yes,
Coffee
sir.
County's always behind times. And
But we're trying not to be.
yes, I know. But North Carolina, when that disaster,
Yes.
all those missing bodies, the only way they found them was with drones to fly down the rivers in different spots. So
Yes, sir.
I mean,
The-
I think it's something to look into.
Yeah, the Skydio drone the drones that we're looking at, have lights, have speakers, have FLIR, with thermal.
They got
So-
a zoom camera, right? Also.
Zoom camera, yeah, and they have thermal. So if it's in the middle of the night, child missing, we can throw a drone up and potentially find that child just by the heat signature.
In Alan's defense, he already has drones, okay?
I do.
Now, what is the cost of the new drones that are compliant?
That is back towards the back, and I think they're 20,000 apiece. Each, yeah.
But I think the drones he's got is not capable of doing.
Well, but
What?
he's already stated they're not compliant.
Right.
We're not
Right.
compliant with
And-
law, but he has been using
Right,
drones.
right.
Right.
He has adopted that
Do you have to have two?
capability.
The question is, do you have, I have a question, do you have to have two of them?
Do we have to have? No.
Yes.
We'll take one.
That's what I need to know.
Yes, sir.
But yours that you have now doesn't have the
So,
zoom or the heat.
no, they're
Yeah.
just standard DJI drones. The one good thing is, and Wade could talk to this a little bit, but Skydio has a buyback program. So 2 of the 4 that we have now could potentially be bought back by Skydio. Now, what they do with them is they basically just destroy them because it's Chinese technology. But they will give you money back if you purchase their drone, if you turn your DJI drones or any of those that are not on the blue list.
Is that the
back.
$20,000 drone?
Yes.
So
Yes. That
how
com-
much do you think they'll pay for what you got?
Wade?
Approximately $12.50 for one of them, because it's a bigger drone than the other one. The other one will be about $250.
So we can get about a $1,500 discount
Yes.
theoretically.
Yes.
Okay.
They said they would get turn in the model numbers on them and they would look at them.
So that's all I have unless you guys have any more questions for me.
I have a question.
Okay.
Those 2 titles that Brandon Dunn brought me,
Yes, sir.
is one for the truck and one for the trailer?
One is for the F-350 truck and the other one is for the mobile command post.
And those are the 2 pieces that came from Manchester?
Yes.
From the District 6?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Mary Ann, I have a question, just, so I've noticed in both of these on the budget sheet, there's a column on the right-hand side, increase, decrease, and they say minus 100%.
Because
Is it-
I've not keyed their.
Okay, so that, I didn't know if you had that set to auto, but
I
so.
didn't want to mess with her
No, I didn't
numbers,
want,
trust me.
yeah, no, I didn't, I'm not,
I
that's
don't do
why I
that.
asked her, not you, I didn't,
I do hazmat, she
Do
does
tomorrow
numbers.
from office and then I start working on it.
so when you put them together, those numbers will be in there,
Yes.
okay,
And then I'll do the benefit down there on that second section.
yeah.
Okay, I got a little question. You got 2 full-time and 2 part-time, correct?
Correct.
Okay. When you got that 8.5% raise, did you do across the board, or did you try to,
Well, it was my understanding that that was for full-time employees only.
right?
So I did that across the board. So Wade and I both split that
I know
equally.
being the short number of,
I mean, with 2 people, yes, we just split it. But,
I don't know
which
why.
left our part-timers still at 12. I think for a comparison,
is that a separate thing?
for a comparison, EMTs at the ambulance service, walking right in off the street, make right at $16 an hour, and my guys are making 12 as part-timers. And not that EMS is not an important role, because it is, but my guys have extensive training in our world, and I think they should be compensated for the training and knowledge that they have, as well as their drive to potentially risk their life for the citizens of this community.
Okay.
I believe when we did the raise last year, it was up to the department head to disperse the funds through their department.
It was.
Not just for permanent employees or part-time employees, it was for all of them. But that's the way we had that.
I was just wondering if
Wasn't just for.
the
full-time
part-times could have been
employees.
included too with that 8.5%.
Well,
We
It
didn't
was
specify.
their discretion, and we told them, we warned them in this meeting, in one of these meetings, we told them,
Right.
watch what you do.
Right.
I do wanna say that the part-time line is separate.
It is.
Well, that's what I was getting at. Is
Some
it
of
separate
them-
or is it
Some of them did
integrated?
increase it.
Some of 'em
I know
did.
the libraries did.
Yeah.
yeah, I wasn't,
Right.
I wasn't completely aware that
They
we could
have,
include the
yes,
part-time.
Full-time,
So-
but that line item itself for the part-time was increased.
Right.
So what I'm hearing is, if we're concerned about that, we need to give some more clear guidance this year.
Absolutely. As to how we
But
want it
did
done.
increase the
If we do
part-time,
decide to do it the same as last year, we need to give guidance on how we want it done.
you know, 'cause we admitted
And
to
who we
the
want,
two
and who we
libraries.
want it to.
And
I
basically,
agree.
if you want me to break that number down, I'm asking for 16 an hour for my part-time people, which I feel is the same amount of money that EMS employees, part-time, full-time, coming in off the street, fresh out of school with a license makes. So I'm just trying to
Now,
get
wait a minute.
that.
You're getting a little off. They got a blended salary.
Mary
Oh, I
Ann,
know,
would
but-
you
but I'm
please-
just talking
please
about
use your
their hourly rate.
microphone when you ask him questions, please. Pretty please.
Now, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I like the fact that you've got the letters of recommendation in here that, for all the agencies that you do assist, and you assist all of them. My question is, would it be possible for these agencies that you assist chip in from their budget to purchase these drones?
That's a really good question.
And the other question is that we were talking about, have you checked on any grants at all?
We know that Homeland Security grant dollars will not buy drones. That is something that they have not allowed ever to purchase drones through Homeland Security dollars. We're always looking for grants out there to purchase things, but we cannot use the current Homeland Security grants to purchase that. And I think that stems from back in 2003 when Homeland Security was established, and the American people didn't want Big Brother watching over them.
I'm good.
Okay, any more questions?
I got a comment. Last year, for part-time people, I asked for a part-time person they should be paid as a full-time person because they don't get benefits, retirement, or health insurance. That's the standard going thing around, not $12 an hour. I don't know what y'all think about it, but I'd like to hear what you think right now.
Well, that's something we can discuss.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
I'd just like to hear something right now.
I hear what you're saying, but, that's something that I would think that would need to be discussed.
That's usually the standard way to do it. Is
Right.
a part-time person makes what the bottom full-time person makes because they don't get the benefits
Yeah.
or the hours.
And I understand, Mariana, about the blended. I worked that
Well,
schedule.
gets to be a mis-
But it is a crazy mathematical
Hey,
formula,
yes,
but
and it ends up being,
yeah, there's a straight time rate and then an overtime rate for EMS. So that's what we're looking for is the straight time rate, that they would make it the first 40.
overtime, vacation, sick, there's a lot that goes into that.
Okay. Thank you, Alan.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
And I appreciate your comment, Tim. That's just something we can talk about
Yeah.
later, at a later date.
Tonight.
Yeah.
I just want to bring that up because I've got part-time people that work on my farm and they make a whole lot more money than $16 an hour. And I'm sure you probably do too when you hire.
All right,
Oh, okay.
any representative here for the,
Rules Ready find a sickness.
okay.
No, he's sick. Here, I was told to bring 15 copies, so.
Okay, here,
I
let's,
know I didn't see,
15.
I know I didn't see Rennie.
We
I
don't-
was wondering.
well,
I did.
You did?
No, I
Usually
put
have
Randy on.
more.
Yeah, and I didn't see him out there. Okay, and your name?
Melissa
Melissa
Burton.
Burton? Okay. All right, Melissa, we'll get these passed out. We'll let you start, okay?
Did you get one, Janice? Okay, you
I
did.
do now, thanks.
Okay, y'all ready?
You may start.
Okay, so we did not add no raises. We felt like that everybody is where they should be. We discussed that with our board members and they agreed, with the stipulation if there is to be an across-the-board raise, we would like it to be, we'd be involved in that then. I highlighted everything that we increased, which is not a lot. Under administration, we have increased line item 335 because we are going to be putting in a new camera system at our office building. The camera system there now is about 20 years old and it is about run its course.
Obsolete.
We have some cameras that won't even work anymore. We did get 2 quotes, and I spoke with Cindy Reagan, our IT, and she suggested we go with Ben Lomond because they will put in the same system out there that is in this building. Okay?
Is that the maintenance and repair buildings? Is that line?
Yes.
The 8,000?
We put it there, but it could, we kind of went back and forth on it, put it in capital projects or in the budget line item, so I just put it there for now. I mean,
Just to be technical, from 8,000 to 17,766 is more than 122%. But
I left the 8,000.
I'm not complaining about the dollars.
I
it's
know, I
just
left the 8,000 there because
Yeah.
of everything else coming out of that line item. The actual quote from Ben Lomond is $9,765.50.
Gotcha.
So I just added the 9,000 to the 8,000. That's how I got the 17,766. The next increase that we done was over on waste pickup. And that is going to be our line items 309 and 312, and that is our disposal line items. And the reason we're increasing that is because of population. Right now, our bill each month is running anywhere from 49 to 55,000 a month just for our tipping fees. We pay 63 a ton right now. And then the next increase is our vehicle line item, and that is because of the age of our trucks. We increased that by 5,000. The next thing we increased was 451 uniforms, and that is just because another employee ordered uniforms, and we had to go up on that because our employee that got the uniforms he only has one leg, and so they have to special
Gotcha.
to his uniforms. And the next one is over on the convenience centers. We are going to have to increase our rentals. That is for our porta potties at our convenience centers. That is going to have to be rebid in May. We currently pay $75 for each center, and the company that we currently had sold out to a new company, and that company came in and immediately tried to charge us $100 per center. And I had to explain to her, you can't do that because we're still under the current contract, and so I know she's gonna go to $100
But you know where it's
as well.
going, right?
Yeah.
Who is that?
Maddie Lou's is who has it now.
Have you checked around?
We will when we bid it out in May.
Okay.
The contract is up in May, we have to bid it. Okay, and the final thing, and the biggest thing, over on capital projects, we have put in the budget for a front-end loader and a new pickup. Our front-end loader that we want to replace
Last page.
is a 2015 model. Rennie doesn't want, he said it's not a good idea to keep them any longer than 10 years if possible, because the longer you keep them, the less you're gonna get out of them. The Manchester City has expressed interest in buying our 2015 that we have now. And we have got a rough estimate of $387,000 for a front end loader. And if we order it this year, we're looking at 1 to 2 years before we get it. The pickup, we will be selling on Gov Deals, I assume. The 2012,
We finally learned how to use it.
okay, good. The 2012 pickup that our litter guard drives, it currently has 175,000 miles on it. We would like to get another pickup, and Rennie's truck that he currently drives would go to the litter guard, and Rennie would drive the new pickup. And so those two together, we're asking for $450,000. We have gotten one quote just to see, you know, what a new pickup would run, and it's right at 46,000. So.
And just to clarify for a minute, there's a dedicated fund for that, right?
Rural capital projects, it's a sub-fund of the general capital project.
All of our trucks
It's rural money.
is beginning to get a lot of age, and last year we almost went over budget on, like, within 2 weeks, we spent over $13,000 on one truck, and it was to do with the transmission. We've already just this week, we've had and that was a Western Star this year, this week, the other Western Star is doing exactly the same thing as that one was doing. So we've already been having it worked on this week, and we know what we've got coming towards us. So they're getting some age.
I would like to comment that our rural solid waste department is one of the best run departments in our county, and we're certainly proud of it and the individuals that are working there.
What does the part-time people make an hour?
$12.54.
Okay. Again,
You're talking about the convenience center workers.
Yes, ma'am.
$12.54. The full-time make $15.73.
again, it's good that you don't ask for a raise. I mean, but I'm disappointed in the sanitation board for not recommending something, because $12 an hour, you're starving to death. And they ain't nobody here at this table, I'm sure, makes $12 an hour, probably make double or more, and they wouldn't work for $12 an hour, so, you know, I think,
Well, in the defense of that, most, with the exception of maybe one or two of our part-time people, along with our full-time people, most of them are elderly, and they do this kind of as a second income. They're, they all, I mean, most of them draw Social Security, and this is just a second income to them. This kind of gives them something to do, and it's also like a second income to them,
Yeah.
so.
well, my mother draws Social Security, and she don't draw enough to pay the bills. So I'm just saying, you know, they probably can't pay the bills on Social Security, and $12 an hour ain't gonna help much.
Well, I hate that you're disappointed, because I'm on that board.
I know that.
And I agreed with them when they said, look, we're not gonna do we're not gonna ask, but if the county does go across the board with employees raises, then they wanna be part of that as well. But just like the mayor said, they're trying to do everything they can, and they're only asking for what they need right now. And,
Well, I think they need a lot more than $12.50 an
well,
hour.
they may need it, but they're not, they didn't ask for it, and we agreed.
Well, I guess they're trying to get by without spending any money, but still,
I guess.
I'm sure, like I
Maybe they need to
said,
go get a job.
What
paid more.
Melissa
Well, they
said,
tell them to
it's
quit their job.
supplemental. It's supplemental, what those
Exactly.
individuals,
Supplemental.
and they get to stand around and talk to people, you know. Our convenience center workers they're socialites, if you will. They make friends in the community, and they most every one of them working there, I think they'd probably work there for nothing if they had, or if you
Well,
had them.
And they know me by name. I mean,
Yeah.
I go to two different ones, and both of them know me.
well, I know that has nothing to do with it, because I've been out there, I visit my convenience center, and they stand out there in the hot sun, rain, snow, whatever, and then when they compress that button to press that garbage in there, shit sprays out all over everybody and maggots, and they need to be paid. $12 an hour it ain't gonna get it. Ain't nobody in here work for $12 an hour.
But that
Is
is,
that working
that's
for
the full,
$12
that's the
an hour?
part-time, not the full-time.
Well,
You wouldn't do
I
it?
can sympathize with her because I'm retired and I've got a supplemental job just to be getting out, and I make less than $12 an hour on that job.
Well, then, like Laura said, you need to quit and find something else.
Nah, because I don't want to. I
They
don't want.
to,
That's what he's
they like
doing.
it.
I like what I'm doing. I don't want a full-time job. So, you know,
I will say that all of our full-time and our part-time, all of them are there because they want to be. They like it. They enjoy it. It's like Dennis said, it's a social thing for them. So,
And I'm sure your social security check's a whole lot more than they make.
I don't know, but
I would bet money on it.
Thank you, Melissa.
thank you, Melissa.
While we're on rural solid waste, I don't know if anybody listens to Thunder Radio here in Manchester, and I know a bunch do, but I interviewed the chairman of the rural solid waste, when our Tiffany Clutter was on a little trip. I had Tim Morris, he's the chairman of the Rural Solid Waste Board, and he made some real good points that I hope everybody hears. That did you notice these rates per ton is what we pay to dump this in the ground in some other counties, which we are so fortunate that there are other counties that are willing to accept our solid waste. So when you're throwing this half bottle of water in the garbage can, that adds up across the county. When you throw a half a soda, even Tim went into the coffee grounds that are wet, you can go out there and scatter them in your flower bed or your garden instead of adding weight to the refuse that we have to pay other counties to take. So I hope everybody keeps that in mind.
take
Those
the
are very,
caps
very
off.
good points.
Take the caps off of them too. I mean,
And dump
They
them,
can do
yeah,
that too,
yeah,
yeah.
so they'll compact.
What I want to add is, I know we had some people that, excuse me, we had some of our constituents that talked about shutting down when it was really cold, okay? I understood that. Some of them don't understand it. I don't know why they want to get out when it's 10 degrees and take and haul off their garbage. But they didn't understand why we closed, and I tried to explain to them, hydraulics does not work
correct,
at that temperature.
correct.
And Tim and I were talking about looking into putting heating units in the oil tanks to maybe help compensate that. But I'm still, I told Tim, I said, I ain't really great for that because it's 10 and 12 degrees out, and who needs to be hauling their garbage out at that temperature?
Exactly. I mean, we did it for that reason and for the reason we didn't want our employees out in that temperature. And also,
But for all those people that listen to this, we are gonna look at that.
yes, because
So,
someone could slip on ice and fall, and then
There
we've
you
got a
go.
lawsuit, so, yeah,
thank you, though.
you're welcome.
Appreciate it.
that it? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Did a good job, Granny.
You
Now,
did.
we're going, if it's okay with everybody, if nobody gets all bent out of shape over this, I wanna bump 10 up above 9, cause these other things, and get Andy, I think he's the only one here left to speak.
Yeah.
And just get him in,
Sounds
let
good.
him speak so he can go on about his business, if that's okay with everybody. Okay, cause we'll skip to 10, and, no, we'll skip to B,
9B.
9B.
I made copies.
Oh, you did?
I forgot to tell you,
That's okay.
whatever.
Killed some more trees, didn't
I didn't mean to.
I know.
What I'm requesting tonight
Yeah.
is a grant through the State of Tennessee Election Office. The grant was available last year, but I wasn't looking at applying for it. But the reason we're needing to is during the August and November election, after transporting our voting machines by the U-Haul that I rent, we had 5 or 6 machines that once they got set up at our polling locations would not turn on. And the only thing I can contribute to is the shipping. So these carts It's 100% paid for grant that the voting machines would be permanently attached to them for safety and security of the machines. Right now, the way we load those on the U-Haul, they are in black bags, and with the tabulation machines, we have to stack these in between those tabulation machines so they don't roll around. And I feel like they're getting crushed. So these machines, each one of them are over $6,000. So this will safely let us transport them. It's also I can't say it's a lot of cost savings, but for our workers setting up, we roll the cart in, we plug it up into one outlet, and they're set up to get ready to go, where now they're having to take each end of the machine out, lift those, find tables to put them on and all that stuff. So, the quote for this was $99,000. These are made by the company that we get our machines from. It is 100% reimbursed by the state, and I'm just asking for approval to apply for it. I don't know that I will get it, but
Mr. Chairman, I'll make
Okay.
a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve. Any more discussion?
I just have a question. I'm just probably ignorant, but you already have the machines, you're putting them on the carts, right?
yes, I'm just
Okay.
buying the carts.
It's
Okay.
just the cart,
Yep.
yes.
But the 99,000 covers them to ship them, all the shipping fees, and for them to come on site and install them onto the carts. So they're taking care of all that.
Okay. Any more discussion? All right. All in favor by saying aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Can I make one last comment? There was no funds approved last year for part-time employees to get raises.
Yeah, what I was,
Yeah.
there were several that asked for their part-time budget to be increased.
Right.
So they could pay their part-time more, is what I was trying to point out. They're not in the full-time line.
Right.
Yeah.
That line item wasn't adjusted.
So if that's
Yeah.
something we want to do, we need to discuss that in future.
You've got
But
full-time
some
people.
did get
Yeah, right.
raises.
You've got full-time people also, right? I mean, part-time.
Part-time, I just have one. During election time, I bring in one more, but only during early voting and election day.
Okay.
But yeah, I only have one that works one day a week during the off-season and then full-time during elections, so I'm really not,
Are
I
they,
don't have any issues with mine.
are they at 12 also?
No,
Or-
my part-time.
Yes.
No, she's at 15.
Okay.
She's been here 6 years, plus she worked early voting for 6 or 7 years prior to that.
Okay.
But my election workers is a totally different story.
Thank you.
Move back up to budget amendments.
You wanna go ahead and do the grants?
Go.
That'd be quick.
Yeah, just go ahead and just roll through it all if everybody's agreeable with that.
There's two from Lowe's that our part-time grant writers has asked permission to go ahead and apply for. It is, the first one is for VFW. We do own the VFW building. And this is for paving and handicap markings of the driveway and parking lot at the Manchester VFW. That is an amount of $100,000 with no matching.
Okay.
The other one, do you want to break them up or?
You want to break them up? It's up to y'all. You want to break them up or run them together?
I'll make a motion to,
Let's,
on both of them together.
okay, we have a motion run together. I have a second.
Second.
All right, I have a motion second. All in favor by saying aye.
And then we'll talk about the next one.
Now go to the next.
The second low token town grant is to repair, there's some stress fractures over in the community room where you have, the meeting room in the concrete. That's to replace that and then replace the flooring. Ceiling tiles, there are several that need to be replaced. And then to replace all those, the appliances are outdated. So that's what that is for.
Okay. Is that it?
And this is just application for a grant.
Right.
Yeah, and I make comment on both of these. the VFW grant, the VFW, that building belongs to Coffee County taxpayers. And the driveway it definitely needs this, and if there's any way possible of obtaining this grant, that would be a wonderful, wonderful thing. The community room, every time I walk in it, that somebody's used it, I have to apologize for the way the floor looks, and the carpet is, nasty. It looks like it's a repair shop for log skidders. But our maintenance supervisor said when they looked into replacing the flooring, there's a big crack across the whole room, which would prevent this laminate type flooring that we're using now, more or less a floating floor, I guess. Anyway, this is a good recommendation to move forward with this.
Okay, thank you. All right, do I have a motion to approve?
We motioned for both of them the first time.
We did the first time, that's exactly right. I don't know what I'm thinking. All right, we're moving on then to, you got any more?
No,
You're good? Okay. Capital outlay?
I've got
Budget amendments.
Oh,
We're
I
going
tried
all
to
out.
do that one ago, didn't I?
Well,
All right, budget amendments.
I hate doing them because they're so tedious. I just put them off to last because they're kind of boring.
Okay.
Here, you want another one?
I've got,
You know you got it over
Oh, it's right there in front of you.
Okay, the first one is my first attempt to reconcile the budget, the general fund, which is always difficult because things coming in during the year that, we're not aware of. So what I did to make it simple, I split it between if it has a 1 beside it, it's just a budget transfer from one budget to another. The second one are actually budget amendments. That's either new money, or we had more come in, or less revenue come in, or we need expenditures increased, or those types of things. That would be number 2. And then a number 3 are grants and/or restricted and committed funds that we're using in different budgets. So, like I said, I tried to do it that way instead of looking at each line item when that would take a while. But if you want to, if you don't mind just scanning down there anything that you would like further detail on.
Anything that pops out that we want to ask a question about, so just go ahead.
I will say the biggest increase, and I knew it was coming because I didn't have these figures when the budget was put together, was the very last item, which is 58,400, which is other charges. That is 506, our liability insurance, which is an increase of 140,397. Now that sounds like quite a bit, but the reason is every 3 to 5 years we value our buildings, because the way our insurance property liability works, like if a tornado or whatever came through and wiped out our buildings, we get what it would cost to replace them now, not what they're worth. So that's why we pay a little more on our buildings.
Good.
Same as our vehicles. We pay for what we could buy it new now, which is really important if you got an ambulance.
Yes. Very good.
So I just want to point that out. We also purchased between the last 2 years about 60, we had an increase of about 60 vehicles, either, disposing of our old ones and buying new ones, and we had, several grant monies available where that was increased. So that is the cause of that. Workers' comp has actually gone down, but we increased our payroll cost. So that always is figured into that. But our mod has gone way down. It's at 1 point. I'll tell you real quick. Which I'm very proud. Heather and I work real close with our insurance people to get that down, our injuries and all that. It's now at 1.24. There was a time where it was at 2.23. And that means you're paying 200% more than you should.
Yeah.
So we have worked on that. But like I said, the majority is the property liability, which is an overall 16.6% increase. We upped our insurable values, and we went ahead and used the Marshall Swift index instead of hiring an independent, because we would've had to pay them $30,000, and then it would've gone up because we would've had the new rates. So we elected to use that schedule, which is what most use to value things. So that's why that went up, and it's just kind of hard to get all that in the budget. It's kind of it's a long meeting to go through all this detail, but, you know, as we all know,
It's gotta be done.
we've added employees, we have more at the jail, you know, it is all factors in, so. That was the biggest one I just wanted to point out.
What was the item there in the county clerk's office for 35,000, other charges?
She is replacing her equipment, her computers, and that's out of her restricted money.
Okay. Yeah, I
Was
saw
that
the
for
size.
new iPads that we got, or was that
No,
the year
that's
prior?
a different one.
Okay. The tablets, I should say.
We had to get everybody to Windows 11 this year, too.
Yeah.
So, increased some of the cost. Some of them didn't get it in the original capital outlay budget. We do, capital projects. I don't want to say capital outlay, get somebody listening.
Get him riled up.
But, so we did have that, and, so that, you know, was a little expensive, but it is what it is.
All right, is everybody good?
Yeah, I think so.
See if I see anything.
That item down there, civil defense, EMA Homeland Security Grant Program, was that a matching portion that we need to pay? 'Cause it's on the expense side of the
That
ledger.
is actually the grant itself. You get the 41,000, I put the net.
Where you at?
Oh, but that's the spending of it on that side. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
sorry, I'm
yes,
sorry,
yes.
yeah,
I wanted the spending to match. the
Grant,
grant.
administrative grant? Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then the other thing, under the sheriff, you know, the
Yeah,
sheriff's
there was a
budget
couple items
is,
there,
where it says refunds,
yeah, that's the other one. I was gonna ask.
okay, what that is the school resource officer grant, where we get an automatic, they send us the 750,000. Well, we have to go back and look at last year and see what we actually spent, and what we didn't spend, we have to return back to the state. So that was the portion that was not spent from last year. You know, I would go ahead and put the whole 750 in as school resource officer funding, because I don't know what, during the year, if they're gonna buy equipment or whatever, don't know, spend it all. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Oh, and then under county buildings on the second page, that 334 jail maintenance, that's Rick's budget, you know, the stuff he does down at the jail. That 32,650 is to pay his budget back for, they had to get batteries for equipment down at the jail that were very pricey.
Yeah, the computers,
Yes.
backups.
Yes.
Right, they're back
Yes,
up.
backups. So we need to put that back in his budget. You know, that budget can run short fast. Y'all got me coughing now.
I know, we all got to call on this. All right, has everybody had a chance to look through it and,
Mr. Chairman, I'll move approval.
okay, we have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a second. And all in favor of saying aye?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The next one is for the ambulance fund. This is just an amended budget. The only thing, we did have a kind of a large insurance recovery because a deer hit one of the ambulances. And in order to repair it, they had to take the whole box off, and it was quite a bit of labor involved. That's what the $43,911 was for. I know.
It's not cheap.
No, it's not.
How fast was that deer moving, hitting that ambulance?
It was at night. We had a full moon because I
Just
asked.
struck me funny the way you said it, the deer hit the ambulance instead of the other way around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it did. It just, whatever. Yeah. So I'll just say it was a full moon.
Okay. You want a motion on that?
What
I
am
mean,
I
we'll
do?
just
We have
motion to
one
that.
more.
All right, let's listen to that one more, and then if you don't have any questions, we'll just approve both of them.
This is rural solid waste sanitation. They're looking at, as it says, this project is for the preparation of a site plan for a used oil and antifreeze storage facility at the Coffee County Rural Solid Waste Department located at 2230 Murfreesboro Road. So this is for rock, grading, fencing, engineering costs. And it's been estimated at 90,000. That's a rough estimate, but I wanted to go ahead and get in the budget because they want to do that now, right? So this is coming from the Rural Capital Projects Fund because this is a rural operation, so that fund is sales tax in the rural area. So I suggested to Melissa and Rennie that we do it this way instead of putting it in their budget, the 116, because it is sales tax dollars.
This is for the location across the street from the main facility, right? Where we already have one building that we're using for spare parts and pumps and cylinder storage, correct? And it'll be behind it.
It's the grass lot beside it, right?
Beside
Yeah.
right
And then in May, we're going to be getting grants for the oil and antifreeze containers.
Container.
Right.
Store.
Because our inspector, every time he comes, he's been questioning why we are not already taking oil and antifreeze.
From the public. Okay.
He's highly suggested, like today, we had a guy come in today that had a 55-gallon drum of oil.
You could not accept it. The statement was somebody from the public brought a 55-gallon drum of used oil and they could not accept it.
Where's this gonna be located at?
Rescue squad, if you're standing out in 41 looking at the rescue squad, move to your right. There's a metal building we use for storage, it'd be right beside it.
And we own that?
We own that property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If that's all the discussion on those amendments, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. There being no more discussion, all in favor saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now, capital outlay, number 10, capital outlay, health department project discussion. So,
Oh, that's that one.
you want to?
Do we have a handout on that one? Am I just looking in the wrong spot?
I don't have one.
No, that's the jail.
You don't
Were
have it?
you guys just planning on talking about what transpired
Don't
at the
have-
bid opening? Do you want to mention any numbers or? I can speak to it, but I don't know that you're ready to. Capital Outlay has not made a recommendation for approval of any of the bids.
No,
Is that
that's
correct?
correct. Hold on.
And they won't until Tuesday.
This is the
Yeah.
jail. He's talking about something else. We've got a health department project discussion in addition to the jail.
Yes.
So which one are we talking about right now?
Health
We're
department.
talking about the,
Health
health
department.
And
department.
we don't have a handout for that, right?
No.
We don't have a handout for that?
All right, yeah, so we.
Oh, I thought we did, okay, I'm
That's
sorry.
For the jail.
Okay.
You'll
I've
need
already
that
got-
one in
I've
a
already
minute.
got that. I've already got that one.
I don't have it.
I got it.
I don't, do you have it?
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah.
Okay, as they say, I don't know, I can't say who quoted, but the buck stops here. All right, I was at the bid opening. There was a slight discrepancy in the process by which the bids were accepted and opened. There were a total of 11 contractors that had planned to bid. 2 of them had read their face of the bid return literally and showed up at the wrong, there was 2 places they were listed as Suite 5 to turn in your bids. Primarily, that was the people that wanted to turn it in prior to the 11 a.m. deadline. But everybody waited, and when the individuals, architectural firm, architectural design firm, and capital outlay and budget and accounts representative and the mayor were all there, there were 9 bid packets on the table at 11 a.m. One contractor walked through the door at 11:01, and the individual with the architectural and design team told Mariana could not accept it. He handed the bid pack to her at 11:01. She was instructed to return the packet to the individual. He voiced no objection to being rejected, and he just sat down without saying a word. There was another contractor that had showed up. I think he came through this side door over here, if I'm not mistaken. He may have been 4 minutes late, 11:04, something like that. He made no vocal objection whatsoever that he witnessed that individual being rejected, so he made no objection. Nobody made an objection. Had they made an objection, I would have and should have spoke up and asked them why they were 1, 2, 3 minutes late. What had happened, they went to the wrong office, and the receptionist down there instructed them to go to the large committee room, our commission room, because that's where we had a lot of the health department discussions. That might have took them 30 seconds to open the door and look in and see nobody was in there, then shut it, and then find their way to conference room 1, which was the other location that was printed on the outside of the bid packets. So, having said that, the process went forward with 2 bids. One actually physically rejected, the other one we didn't even see it. So, the 9 bids were opened. Then the contractor that was rejected upon the beginning of the meeting came to the table and then voiced somewhat of an objection, saying he followed the literal instructions on the outside and he went to the wrong building, wrong office in this building. And he said, but it doesn't matter anyway. He would have been $200,000 high over the lowest bid. He said, it doesn't matter, I wasn't low anyway. So he essentially stated, and I've reviewed all this with our county attorney, okay? So what I'm saying and presenting to you is from our county attorney. So he essentially turned his bid in. There was at least 6 witnesses heard him say his number and that he knew he wasn't low. So he essentially backed himself out at that point. The other individual did not say anything at that point either, but the office of the contractor that did not have his bid physically rejected made a call to the office and others, and he was understandably disappointed. Our attorney said because the representative that was actually in this room voiced no objection to having, because both of them probably had a reasonable excuse to be allowed a 3 or 4 minute leeway. But since he did not state an objection orally in that meeting, he pretty much removed himself from the process. So we don't have, the way we have it right now, we don't have any recourse. They're not seeking recourse, neither contractor. I do have a letter from the company that did not have his packet on the table or handed anybody. I have a email saying they're willing to accept what happened and that they're happy. I won't say they're happy, but they're not going to push the issue. So having said all that, the bids that we got are all good bids, and we're happy with the numbers. There were huge differences between, there was at least a $3 million difference between high and low, right? Yep. So, and it fell with, Mariana, I'm saying this correctly, we're within our budget. We can pay for this health department without any strain. So I'm real proud of how it went.
So we didn't pass that on our last capital outlay meeting.
That's okay. I
But we are
understand why.
going to have a special one on Tuesday that I'm requesting you to be at 4 o'clock.
Okay, I was wondering when you get around to telling me.
4. 4 o'clock on Tuesday, that we're gonna have our special meeting on, okay? And-
Did you say at 4?
At 4 o'clock.
Here?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't want to get lost.
Well, there's
Don't
no
be in
other
my
meeting
office.
supposedly that night, so that's why we went, there's no other meeting that night, so that's why we did that. So that's where we're at on it. So it should go through pretty easy now. We just wanted directions from the mayor and from the county attorney before we proceeded any further with it.
Well, thank you, Dennis.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
You're very welcome. I just wished it hadn't happened the way it
Well,
did.
it's a learning, it's a learning.
Definitely, if either
You have
one of
to-
them had voiced objection at the beginning of the meeting, I would have stopped the process, asked them why they were late. You know, they
Right.
could have had a wreck hold them up or something that I feel like would be
And we-
circumstances to consider.
Sure. And we're always wanting to make improvements because, you know, we don't want to ever
Right.
disqualify somebody.
Exactly.
Is that all the discussion? Anybody want to say anything else? If not, we'll move on to old business if there's any.
Jail,
We got this,
10B?
this.
The jail,
Oh,
HVAC.
10A.
Handed it out.
Oh, this agenda.
I got 10.
Whatever it is.
Okay,
Ten
yeah,
A,
okay.
10A?
Capital outlay was
10A,
10A,
which is
so this
now
would be 10.
oh, be 10B, I'm sorry,
10B now.
pardon me.
All right.
Or you got 10 and
So-
10A, whichever you want.
We have a contract with, maintenance
see.
contract with Lee Company. So we've had to go, we're having issues with all the air conditioning units and heat and air systems on the jail. They are at their end of life. We actually have a problem with them right now. On every pod. It's pretty well every pod, even the office area, but we're not worried about the office area right now as much as we are the pods.
They're getting paid to be there. The others are not.
Yeah, so the pods are gonna have to be changed out. We've gotten estimates, on 3 different, brands of units. If you look at page 2, the option, for the Green Heck units is what they have up there right now. Everything though that's on the ones that are there right now are obsolete. So we're not recommending, that same unit, because of the history of them. We've looked at the maintenance on them, and it's taken way more than what we feel like is what we want to do. You can see the numbers are not that far apart, and we chose the option number 3. And it's because, one is because of the unit itself, the history of it, the warranties with it. They're all basically, and they all basically have the same warranties with them. but that's ones that they all have recommended, and we're recommending that same units, for 3 of them right now to be changed out on the pods.
This manufacturer, in other words, has a very good track record.
does.
Is that what we're
Yes,
saying?
yes.
And the units that are up there, am I correct that that company is no longer
No.
manufacturing units at all, correct?
no.
Let's see, that's the conundrum we're in.
How long does it take?
Actually, the option number 2 is one that's actually manufacturing that unit, similar to that unit, okay? So they're the parent company or their own sister, they're tied together, so we didn't want to go there.
Right.
So,
Right.
How long would it take to get these units?
15 weeks.
This has to be bid, you know.
When we have a maintenance contract,
Are you asking for 345,000?
yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Well, we were under the
They
understanding
do the
that,
maintenance on, yes, they do the maintenance on our existing equipment, but if we have to replace them, that's separate.
okay.
They just do the repair. Rick and I have gone through all this because we've had to.
Well, Rick's one that said that we didn't have to go through a bid process.
Yes.
When we had 3 bids on different units.
Yeah, but
So I
the
don't know
bid
how that
limit
works.
is 50,000.
Correct.
Yeah, I know that part, yes.
Okay, that's why.
I didn't know if we had to do that when we had a maintenance contract with a company or not, because they're not gonna sit there and try to come in and have a maintenance contract with somebody else's units that are already under warranty.
Yes, but aren't you replacing the units?
Yeah.
So it's not maintenance then.
It's not maintenance.
So then you won't have a maintenance contract.
Well, I mean,
You have
it
to
is
dissolve
what
the
it
maintenance
is.
contract.
That's what the law says.
Yeah.
There is a difference
Okay.
between the maintenance and actual purchasing the equipment.
So,
So we need to sit down with Rick then.
Sit
you
down
and
and
me.
discuss further, yeah.
Well,
What our
Rick
options
needs to talk to purchasing in my office and get that moving forward. If y'all wanna approve the dollar amount out of.
It will have to go through the quote process.
Yeah, I know
It
that.
will
Yeah,
have to.
We'll have to go through
We
the,
have to pay
I don't
for
know, do we want to
competitive
approve the
bidding.
dollar amount right now?
Well, if you just say up to, because I
no,
have,
because it's a public record and
Yeah.
the bidders could find out and know what.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
well, you got,
Of course, they're still competing anyway, so.
Yeah.
I know, I know, but,
We have done that before, but.
I mean, if you wanna bid it, then you gotta and come back to get the money, however you wanna do it.
I prefer you wait till you get your quotes.
Right.
Yes.
They might be 500,000, might be your low on the highest quality unit. So I think I prefer you just wait, get the quotes,
ahead and bid
get
it.
Daniel, go ahead and get.
Okay.
We need the specs. Rick's going to have them on these units. You have to definitely quote like kind of equipment. So
Will this nullify the maintenance contract?
It might, I don't know, that's on the.
who's the maintenance contract with right now?
Lee Company.
Lee. Not the manufacturer then. We didn't purchase these original units from Lee, did we?
No.
Okay, that was just part of the construction
Yeah.
project, okay. And the contractor probably picked the cheapest thing they could possibly buy.
No, we didn't. Cheap some,
Mary
the
Ann,
best.
Mary Ann.
You know that. We pay double if we do that, don't we, somewhere down the line.
So we done discussing? It's going for the bid process, and I guess you better
Just
do
make a
that fairly quick.
motion to
Yeah, I know
go
that,
ahead and
because we're going to get into trouble.
bid it.
Motion to bid it?
Let's- yeah, I
I'll
think that'd
get
be
over
good.
to Rick
So,
tonight.
okay, I need to have a motion entertained to,
Wait a minute,
put this, okay.
to do what?
Put it out for
To
bid.
put it out
Oh,
for
okay.
bid.
I'll make that motion, we get it
Okay.
fixed up and get it put out to bid.
So we're gonna put it out for bid. I need a second.
Second.
I don't have a second. Now, all in favor? No more discussion. All in favor saying aye.
All right.
All opposed? Motion carries. Have I missed anything else?
No.
Okay. No more any more old business? Oh, got her hand up.
Oh, good grief.
No, no.
Just kidding.
Tim asked that we would move the budget and finance meeting for next month to the
Yeah,
20th.
from the from the 26th to the 20th,
27th to the 20th.
27th to the 20th, okay. So y'all keep that in mind, that we'll be meeting on the 20th
Because of
instead of the
spring break?
27th.
Yeah,
It
it's
should be
be-
on our, it should be in our
Because of the
emails.
spring break.
Right.
Okay, there's 5 departments that want to bring their budget, so I'll see if they can do that.
Okay, well, then, they can,
They need to
Right,
bring them,
they're
they
gonna
bring them on.
On the 20th, right?
so we're good with that?
You did say the 20th, right?
The 20th.
Is that the ambulance authority?
Are we gonna have another
Yeah.
one though, or
I
are
may
we
be
just gonna have
next
that, that's gonna be the normal one for 5 of them?
You're gonna be at
present?
that too? No, you's already last.
Yeah, I made
guess it
sure you
is.
told me, you marked me down out here with my, nobody told me you moved it. Or-
Okay. All right, everybody all good? That being said, we'll, move for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
All right. You have a second? All in favor by standing up.